every Easter season, when this passage from John's Gospel comes around, we read about the disciples inside the house, the doors locked for fear of what's out there, the sinister things that could happen, fear that they might be next, fearing for their lives. And so here they are, holed up, staying safe by staying inside. That's a feature of the story that over the years certainly I've noticed, but for obvious reasons this year it's the place where I'm drawn to stop right there, to wonder about it, to let it wonder about me. Actually, that's the thing, to let it ask me, what's happening for me in this time of unusual confinement? What am I about? What is this time about for me? What is it raising in me, inviting me to notice? What am I asking myself? What am I seeking that is prompted by this particular time? Just so you know, I hear it too. Me, me, me. It's one of the things about being in this cloistered time. It can press you to reckon with yourself, listen to yourself, notice yourself, be available to yourself. Now, of course, I realize that some of us are doing this time with others in the same space. And for some, that's an advantage. For others, it's really hard. For some, it's a mix. And for those already living on their own, I realize this isn't the same kind of time, when being apart from others is an imposed thing. Which is all to say that I realize our situations differ from one another, which is really nothing new. And yet for each of us, no matter our context, this is a time. What we're living is a thing. And whether or not we're on our own, there is an I, a me, a you that is alive in this moment, in this time, having this experience. As I wonder what this time is about for me, I wonder what it's about for you, what it could be about. We're doing so much of our life differently these days. Presumably we're shopping differently, some of us not at all, some of us for others. With more deliberateness perhaps about when and what and how. We're keeping our distance, we're moving away from each other. Some are covering their faces such that their smiles are hidden. All of this an expression of care. Some are especially grateful for the tree out their window that has become a newfound friend. Some of us are on the phone more than ever, or discovering new ways of meeting up online, even enjoying a meal together. So much of life we are doing differently. I wonder what you are noticing. I wonder what new ways are surfacing, what capacities, what longings, what needs are being revealed. All brought about through this time where we are staying home far more than usual. I want to come back to this notion of listening to ourselves, being available to our own self. I think that's what keeps coming back to me over these last few weeks. Maybe because I'm beginning to settle in a little bit more to this time. Maybe because we're on this side of Holy Week and the days feel less pressured, a little roomier. Maybe because a little more room affords just a bit more breathing space. Room to check in with myself. To notice what it feels like to go for an evening stroll. To feel the delight of that, and not just the beauty of the surround, but the sense of pleasure in my being. And to feel my desire to make this a part of my everyday. What if I could do this every day? When I give myself the space to listen to myself, I tune into the awareness that this set apart time as we have it now isn't going to last forever, and for me that is actually unnerving. I know for others it can't be over soon enough. I hear that and I can appreciate that. It helps me to realize how much a person of privilege I am in this time. I'm not anxious about owing rent or how I'm going to feed my family. I don't have an elderly parent that I'm not able to go near. But from where I sit, I'm unnerved by the prospect of this time coming to an end, because I realize that this particular time holds the possibility for some repatterning of my days. And I haven't gotten there yet. I know, patience, right? Takes more than 1 month to rework a life. But what about my desire for a deeper life of prayer? And what do I even mean by that? I realize that for me it's about moving through the day more connected, grounded, rooted in love. Finding myself turning often, remembering how I am surrounded and upheld and inhabited by a great love. I'm not talking about being blissed out, though I do know what it is like to be swept off my feet with awe. But that's not at the heart of my desire at the moment. I want to be in the world unafraid. I don't mean reckless or oblivious to harm's way. I mean not afraid of messing up. Not afraid of my own inadequacy. Not afraid of coming to my end thinking I was too protective, too careful, too restrained. What do I mean by a deeper life of prayer? I think for me, it's about living with a kind of freedom that is born of really only the true safety that there is, of dwelling in the heart of God, knowingly, trustingly. What would take me there? What would allow that turning, that remembering to become more and more my way, my dwelling place? Well, that's what our spiritual practices are all about, aren't they? Helping us to cultivate a way, an opening, a connection. It's not necessarily about adding a whole number of things to our daily round, though for some of us we may choose to take up a practice that somehow got squeezed out somewhere along the way, or to engage in a new to us discipline. Or it just might be about allowing our daily tasks to be in themselves avenues for deepening connection, which is such a part of Celtic spirituality, for example. This sense of in each task, in everything we do, there God is present. So that Lighting the fire in the morning becomes an act as well of welcoming the Spirit to kindle the fires of her love within, love for neighbor and stranger. And washing hands is accompanied by the invoking of a blessing upon these hands for the work that they will do and the things that they will touch in the course of the day. Getting dressed in the morning becomes an occasion for clothing ourselves in God's love. So there's this practice of waking up to the presence of God that is carried out from morning till night, in and through the most practical, even mundane tasks of daily living. What I realize for myself is that this time of relative isolation has opened up an inner space, making room for me to be more available to myself. And so therefore to be able to hear what has been waiting to be heard, received, honored. The seeds for newness, for some life-giving repatterning of my life are being sown in this time. I think this is what happens when we let our soul's voice speak. There's such wisdom there, such compassion, guidance for fuller, richer life. And I don't know, is there a difference between the Spirit and our soul? Is our soul the Spirit's home in us, the way of the Spirit's presence in us? These are mysteries to me. But what seems clear is that confined spaces, locked doors, weeks on end of isolation, none of this stops the Spirit of the Risen One from showing up and breathing peace, deep peace, transforming peace. Our part, it seems, is to be present, deeply present to ourselves, for that is precisely where we are met, right where we are. In these days when we are doing so much of life differently, how are you making yourself available to your own self? That you might be met by the one who comes to breathe new life right where you are.